Welcome in, Sports Bluff family. The 2025 NFL Draft is in the books, and we're here for your coverage, bluffing our way through each and every section of it. To be honest, just a few things in the first round, because after that, who really pays attention after that, right? But hey, we see some good talent coming out of the second round and on. So those are always the surprises to me. The first round are the ones that we judge because that's what we are expecting out of these people, these players. But second round and on, that's when you start seeing some surprises around the corner, and one in particular that we'll talk about that dropped down pretty far.
Yeah, definitely. That is the story of the draft. We'll jump right into it. We're going to hit, mainly on this episode, we're going to do Shedeur Sanders. We're going to talk about the Jaguars moving up, a couple other first round, second round moves that we noticed. Next week, we might go into more detail, look at team drafts and overall, but right now, it's just the big stories. And let's jump right into it because I am literally just excited to talk to you about it because we have one of the most storyline-heavy draft I've ever seen. This is crazy.
I know you're chomping at the bit to get to it, so let's go.
All right. Okay, Ryan, I just want to kind of start this conversation about Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, he slid surprisingly far and ended up going in, the fifth round? Is that right?
Yep.
So not what a lot of people said.
To the Browns.
To the Browns, yeah. So I want to tackle the whole Shedeur sliding thing, and then we can tackle the Browns deciding to take him after taking Dillon Gabriel. Is that fair?
Yeah, go ahead. Just to be clear, everybody, haven't heard this take from Tristan whatsoever, so your reaction will also be my reaction.
I'm going to tell everyone, if they don't already know, the truth about Shedeur Sanders, the truth about what happened, because I feel like there's a lot of BS out there and covering their tail. The Steelers passed on him in round one. Everyone was shocked. And then it kept going and it became a big story. Here's the truth. The NFL did not like the way Shedeur Sanders acted. That is the meat of this. He is a good player, on tape, but he is not a first-round talent. Like Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah and all these guys having him ranked as a first-round quarterback, I think is a stretch. I think it is because this was a weak quarterback class. So understood. I don't think it would have been crazy if he went in the first, but I think he's more of like a second-round talent. We can get into where he went in a minute. What I have been just like disgusted with, honestly, is the way the media has kind of handled this, mainly talking like ESPN in particular. And I don't really watch ESPN's draft coverage. I watch Rich Eisen on NFL Network and guys on YouTube that do what we do. But obviously, it's been impossible not to see the clips. Everyone's acting like they can't believe it. They're just, what is causing this? Can you believe that he's sliding? What is this magic, elixir we can't figure out? Oh, I think I have an idea. He was a jackass to every NFL team for 6 months. His dad was constantly saying, we're going to decide where we're going to go. We're a top 5 pick. Anybody will take us. He doesn't work out with teams. He had bad interviews. He was acting entitled. And this is kind of the league, whether you agree with it or not, sending a message. That's what this is. That's the league saying, hey, and I think this is not just about Shedeur. This is about the NIL era of college kids moving forward. This is the league saying, you don't run the show around here. Even Deion Sanders, as much as we respect him, you're not going to come in here and tell us what to do. Shedeur had an awful interview with the Giants that went, disastrous. A lot of people were saying that. ESPN and everybody was ignoring that as if because they were anonymous claims that it wasn't true. But there was 15 of them. It just stacked up. He was cocky. And that whole pre-draft process of acting like he was better than everybody, he didn't have the tape to match up that attitude. You know what I'm saying? If he was Peyton Manning, or Andrew Luck, or even like Caleb Williams last year doing some of that stuff, you can be like, okay, because when you look at the tape, you're like, yeah, this guy, we got to go get him. But he doesn't have that kind of tape. He has a second round talent tape. And he's acting like a bona fide top 5 pick. And it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. That's why he dropped. That plain and simple. All the stuff around it.
We're going to take a quick time out just to make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Take a look down below. If you're not, just do it. It takes 5 seconds. I'm going to wait.
In a way, I kind of feel bad for the kid because Deion Sanders is his dad and he's been around it his whole life. Seriously, if your dad acts that way and teaches you to act that way, well, you don't know it. You're like, yeah, this is how we act. We're the Sanders. I do feel bad for him partly for that, but this just acting like we have no idea what's going on. This shock, yeah, he pissed everybody off. Why is it that big of a shock? ESPN and all these analysts. Last point, Ryan, I am so freaking sick of all of the media people tripping over themselves to show everybody how pro player they are. They're not in the right 100% of the time. And it just became painfully obvious how they view this and how they cover themselves and trying to be pro player and keep their relationships with Dion. Mel Kiper damn near had an aneurysm on live TV.
All the meanwhile, not saying upside at all the entire time and making me lose my parlay. Anyway, do you smell... Hang on, I just had to get this out of the oven. This is a humble pie.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut a big slice for Shedeur right now. And I'm going to serve it to him, just like the rest of the NFL did. This is a course correction, like you said, on the NIL transition period. And this is much needed. And the worst thing to happen to this man, and this is why, I'm not going to say man, he's a kid still. This is why I do feel bad for him. It's because his dad... The worst thing that happened to him was his dad coaching him, period, in college. And like he retired his number. Like, come on, we know what happened there. Okay, it's your son. And I get it, man. I'm a dad. Like, I would, of course, want the best for my son, and I would think that he's the best out of the best.
But he's getting in his way.
But also, I'm realistic, and like, if you truly love somebody, then like, you got to let them grow on their own, and that hasn't happened. And all it's done is pumped up Shedeur's head this big, and now it got deflated in front of the nation, Tristan. Like, this is bad for him. And it messes with your psyche. It messes with all kinds of things. Like, who knows now, like, how confident he's going to be going into this? I hope still, because he has a good shot at winning the room, the locker room. He has a good shot of battling it out and being the quarterback. Because who's he facing up against? Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, and who else?
Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco.
But
they also drafted Dylan Gabriel, which we'll talk about in a second.
But my point being, he could easily be the best quarterback in that room.
He could be. Yeah, and that's why this is aggravating, because it's like, with Dion doing this stuff, it's like, he is a good player. Like, I don't think he's a first-round player, obviously, but he's a good player. He's a player you would draft in the second. And that's when it became evident to me, Ryan. It's like, obviously, Cam Ward, even Jaxson Dart going over him, okay, I disagree, but you know, I can see it. And then even Tyler Shuck or whatever, the guy from Louisville, even that, I'm like, okay, you could have that debate. After him, when it went Dylan Gabriel and Jalen Milroe, that's when I was like, oh, okay, they're definitely sending a message, because Shedeur Sanders is a far superior quarterback to Jalen Milroe and Dylan Gabriel based on the college tape. He just is.
The way that, and you made a great point, and this has been something I've been saying. We had like a small little draft party at my house. You know, one of the things that we talked about was what you said, that the media pumps up these kids, man. They're kids, right? They're 17, 18, 19, sometimes 20 years old. They are still so young and so green. And since high school, right? Like that, coming out of high school into college, they start pumping them up. And then all throughout their college career, they pump them up even more. And then reality sets in, and most of these kids that go to college that were scouted in high school don't even make the cut in the NFL. Then you have these pro player people like Mel Kiper and all these other guys that want to just pump these players up like, oh, this kid's so good, it's so good.
Well, can I just interject that point and let you play off of that? It's not even just the college kids. They do it with the NFL players too. Like when an NFL guy's in a contract dispute, on ESPN, 100 times out of 100, they're going to take the player's side. It's never like, you know, the Brandon Ayuk situation when like it was logical to say, hey, I don't know if the 49ers should pay him a big contract right now. And everybody's like, he needs to get his money. He's a player. Like they're not, it drives me insane.
And I get it. Like I'm all for people getting as much money as they can. I love capitalism. Like let's paint it all over the wall. But I'm also a realist. And what did I see on Thursday night? They were taking these kids that hadn't started one day in the NFL, and they were side-by-side comparing them to Patrick Mahomes, a once-in-a-lifetime legacy player. They were taking other guys like the running back that went like 6th round or something like that, the first running back off the board, forget his name. Anyway, they were taking him and comparing him to, you know, Emmitt Smith. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we already setting these guys up for failure? Oh, this guy, his comp was Patrick Mahomes, and he didn't live up to that hype? A big surprise. 99.9% of people will not. This is what frustrates me because, again, I'm a father here, right? Like, don't don't tell my kid, I'm not for participation trophies, okay? And that's what we're doing. We're just saying, hey, you're going to make it. You're going to do great. No, they need to hear the real truth of like, hey, this is going to suck and be really hard, and you're going to have to fight every day for your job. And one bad move, one bad break of the leg, your career is over. Like, has anybody told them that lately?
I think it's a balance because on the draft, it's like, I get it because you're trying to, this is their moment. You know, when like, if you're going to, oh, this is his comp. But that is why I prefer like guys on YouTube now, like that franchise guy. He doesn't need me shouting him out. That's a guy I watch. The PFF guys on Stock Exchange, Bootleg Football, all those guys, because they give comps that are more realistic. They're not just comping great players. Like they're really diving into tape and give you the best, analysis for the player and try to be realistic of like, hey, best case scenario, he ends up being a, B+ Chris Godwin, by the way, which is a good thing. And that's something that drives me up a wall, not necessarily the whole comp thing, but just the way that the players can do no wrong. And with the Shedeur thing in particular, Ryan, this is what kind of, it drove me crazy up into the draft, and particularly as he started to fall. All the people on ESPN and all these networks acting like all of these, bad rumors coming out about Shedeur were made up. People, they were literally acting like, oh, I can't believe you'd even take that seriously. Like the fact that we believe our own lying eyes. You know what I mean? Like we've seen the way he's acted. We've seen the tweets his dad's put out. We've watched the way they've handled this whole process. And then y'all are going to be like, well, what? Why is he sliding? It's a mystery. We are shocked by this. I was like, okay, I'm a little shocked he fell that far, but y'all are shocked? He pissed off the league. He spit in their face. Yeah. I don't remember if it was the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl or something, but he said he was going to work out. So the bowl, whatever it was, flew his teammates out there to work out with him. And then he showed up in sweatpants, didn't work out, and left on a jet after the first day. And so those spots that they brought his teammates, they could have used to evaluate other players. They did not like the way he handled all of this at all. And if he had handled all of it like that and had Caleb Williams tape, he still would have gone number 1 overall. That's the thing. He acted like that, and he's got second round tape. And everyone on TV and all these, NFL coverage guys acted like we weren't seeing what we were seeing. It was a mass gaslighting attempt by the NFL media.
How else do you expect a 20-something-year-old kid to act when all his life he's been told one thing?
That's why I said I kind of feel bad for him.
100%. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, grow up and take some responsibility. But when your dad's not doing it. But at the same time, which there's an arguable fact that his dad's always been this way.
Oh, yeah,
his whole career.
The difference is his dad is one of the greatest athletes to ever walk the planet.
Of all time. So. Yes. It almost falls into the LeBron situation, man. It's very similar. Like, you keep these legacy guys that come out and pump their kids up and hold them, or at least tell them that they have the same standard as what that person, that father, has been through and has accomplished, is completely unfair. And I just feel like that sometimes these fathers, these awesome players in whatever, respected league, they just have to take a step back and say, hey, you go do you. I want to get as far away from you as possible to not steal that light or to dim it. Because one of the two things is going to happen if they stay close. You know what happened with Shedeur? His dad took the spotlight.
You're 100. That's such a great point. That's the best way to put it. And because what if they would have just, after college was over, if Deion would have been like, hey man, put your nose to the grindstone, get to work, go nail these interviews, be respectful. Hey, being humble and respectful, that's not going to hurt you. You cannot be too humble, too respectful in these interviews. If he would have grinded and went to every interview and been like, thank you for spending the time with me. I appreciate you. I guarantee you he would have gone first or second. But he didn't. He acted like he was better than them, better than the NFL. And the NFL sees this all the time. They're like, who are you, man? You haven't proven anything. You haven't proven anything. Your tape is your tape, okay, but you do not get to pretend you're better than the NFL. And back to the point, I'm not putting that all on him. I put a lot of it on his dad. But at the end of the day, that's why he fell. And I'm as shocked by the media trying to pretend that wasn't happening as this whole situation. This was a crazy thing. This was a huge storyline. He did end up getting drafted. So let's go ahead and transition to that. Okay, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns deciding to take him in the 5th round. One little caveat, though. They took a quarterback already in the 3rd round with Dillon Gabriel. I think Shedeur Sanders is a better prospect than Dillon Gabriel, personally. I think that's almost undebatable, but we'll see. If you take Dillon Gabriel at 3, 3rd round, why are you taking Shedeur at 5? If you're going to take Shedeur at 5, don't take Dillon Gabriel at 3. Because here's the thing. You've got so many quarterbacks. I thought when they traded down from 2, which we'll also talk about, that they were getting assets and saying, hey, next year is a deep quarterback class. We're going to attack quarterback next year. Because right now, we brought back Joe Flacco, we traded for Kenny Pickett, and we'll draft Dillon Gabriel. That'll be fine. And now we add Shedeur Sanders?
And you still have Deshaun Watson.
True, but
I know, but I'm just saying, he's still in that room. I don't understand this. Like, you thought that, right? And then the opposite is true. No, we're going to double down on quarterback. And look, getting Shedeur in the 5th round is a steal. Unless you already got Gabriel in the 3rd. Like, okay, do you think they were just the draft room in Cleveland? They were just all sitting around. And then the timer starts counting down 10, 9, and they all wake up, quarterback! Yeah, and then they just hit the next one on the board.
I think this was the owner coming in and saying, hey, we're taking Shedeur. Because look at this. This is the way Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski react. They do not look happy. Andrew Berry looks like a hostage in this video. They're forcing themselves to clap. They do not look like they were excited about picking Shedeur Sanders. I think this is a typical Brown situation where the owner overstepped and said, hey, well, this kid should have been taken before this. We're taking him. And it just blows up the whole plan because taking Dillon Gabriel at 3, okay, whatever. I'm fine with that. And 3rd round, okay. And we'll still get a quarterback next year because we got all these assets. But to double dip on quarterback, if you're going to take Shedeur, think about the player you could have got in the 3rd round instead of Dillon. You could have got someone that could contribute immediately this year.
Or why didn't you just take Shedeur in the 3rd round?
Right, exactly. And that's why I wondered did they have Dillon Gabriel rated higher than Shedeur genuinely? Because I find that hard to believe, dude. I find that really hard to believe.
If you're the Browns and your pre-draft playbook, right, says, hey, 3rd round comes along, we trade up or whatever, we do the trade, we don't get quarterback. Your first quarterback option, to your point, is Dillon Gabriel? And if so, you get to the 3rd round and Shedeur hasn't come off the board, and you say to yourself, I'm going to go ahead and take Dillon Gabriel here in the chance that he doesn't drop even further. I think Shedeur was his protection. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, to most teams...
What do you mean?
Okay. You have Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel left, right?
Yeah.
Say just these 2 guys are on the board. It's the 3rd round.
Yeah.
You hit the 3rd round, you're the Browns, and you say, hey, I think Shedeur's still on the board, so the chances of us getting Dillon come the 4th round is pretty high.
Right.
Because Shedeur's his protection. Most teams valued Shedeur a lot higher than Dillon.
Right.
So why in the 3rd round would you even take Dillon? Even if he was your target. You see what I'm saying? Even if Dillon was your guy that you wanted and not Shedeur, why would you take him 3rd round if Shedeur was still on the board? Because odds are he was going to be there in 4th or 5th because Shedeur was his protection.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? In my mind, it makes sense. I don't know if I'm saying it correct, but...
It makes perfect sense. That's what I'm wondering. It's like, you have to wonder a couple questions. It's like, did they genuinely have Dillon Gabriel graded above Shedeur Sanders? If so, that's fine. Every team's got guys graded differently. Okay, but then you don't take Shedeur in the 5th. You don't. If you didn't have him graded better than Shedeur, then you take a different player there and you take Shedeur later. If you know that everyone's letting Shedeur fall, Kevin Stefanski's a good coach. I think Andrew Berry's a good GM. I think this was 100% an owner pick, Ryan. And when you look at that video of their reaction,
sense, Tristan.
What do you mean?
Because if the owners
don't know what they're doing. That's the point. He signed Deshaun Watson to a fully guaranteed contract.
My point is, Dillon in their playbook, in their pre-draft playbook, their pecking order had to have been ranked higher than Shedeur because they had both options in the 3rd round.
Or Shedeur was ranked above him, but they said, we're not willing to, take Shedeur here and deal with all the headache and the stuff that comes with him. And then you get to the 5th, and that's where the owner says, okay, we weren't going to do that. This is too good a prospect to pass up at the 5th. Get him. That's the only other rationale I could even think of. And that's shaky, so you're right.
So my thought is, if you were going to pass on Shedeur at the 3rd round anyway, the odds of Dylan making it back to you in the 4th is higher because Shedeur is still there.
Right.
So why don't you spend your draft pick on a better option in the 3rd round in the first place?
It's baffling, honestly.
We forget who we're talking about.
Exactly.
This is the
exactly
Browns.
right.
The same guy, the same team who gave the guy that had so many sexual assault allegations against him, just a couple more than Justin Tucker, and they gave him a king's ransom.
Yeah.
And then after not seeing him play for 2 years.
Yeah. The first fully guaranteed contract in NFL history. And guess what? That's been a disaster. You're right. And I do feel bad for Stefanski and Barry. I don't think this was their call, but this is just... And up until that point, I liked what they were doing, taking Mason Graham. And again, even taking Gabriel in the 3rd. I was like, all right, screw it. Take a flyer on Gabriel. Let's see. Because it's the trade down. We're getting assets. The Browns, we're telling you that whole draft. We are getting assets so we can get a quarterback in next year's class, which is pretty stacked. That's what their whole draft strategy was telling you. And then they got to the 5th round and picked Shedeur. And I think Shedeur probably beats out Dylan Gabriel. I think he's probably going to beat out Kenny Pickett. There's a good chance he ends up starting for the Browns. And then they're going to be in this position where Shedeur is going to be, good enough to where they can't draft a quarterback next year. Because they're like, oh, well, we only had 1 year with Shedeur. And it just kind of, it blows up the whole plan. This is the Browns. Even if they had a plan, Andrew Berry and Stefanski, which they probably did, this is the owner sweeping in and saying, nah, what I say goes. And this is why they'll always be a joke of a franchise. It was crazy. I couldn't believe when they took Shedeur after Gabriel. I was shocked.
All right, Tristan, I know there's a few players that we want to talk about. Let's work our way down the list. The full draft of round 1. Starting off, Cam Ward went to the Tennessee Titans. We all expected it. I don't think it's a shocker to anybody. Congrats to the Tennessee Titans for making a questionable move. Number 2, this is where everything kind of shifted, right? I mean, it happened quick. I didn't see this coming. All the analysis that I read didn't have this happening at all. But Jacksonville traded up with Cleveland to number 2 to take the best, in my opinion, the best overall player in the draft, Travis Hunter. What's your take on that?
This one is crazy, and I am conflicted on this one because I think they gave up a little too much, honestly. Like, I've gone back and forth on it, but they paid a quarterback price for a cornerback, trading up 3 spots, obviously, to get Travis Hunter. They gave up a first-round pick next year, the second-round pick this year, and then they basically did a 4th-round pick swap. So
King's ransom.
Essentially, you're giving up a second this year and a first next year, and it's the Jags, so it's probably going to be a top 10 pick, to go get Travis Hunter. That's a lot, man. It's really hard for me to
he's a Heisman winner.
He is a Heisman winner, and the argument people make is that, oh yeah, but you're getting 2 great players. He's going to play both sides. I'll say this. I think as far as Travis Hunter goes, the Jaguars is actually one of the best landing spots for him because they have Brian Thomas Jr., who's a bona fide, dog at wide receiver. So they can put Travis Hunter in at wide receiver in some packages, and he's not going to be the one everyone's worried about. And he can also be their number 1 corner. But I don't buy until I see it that this guy's going to be a difference maker wide receiver in the league. I just don't think that's going to happen. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. There's not enough hours in the day to sit in and focus all that time. All these guys are focusing all their time on that position. I don't think he can do it. But even if he is like an all-pro corner, this is a lot to give up. It's a lot.
And I know we just got finished talking about not hyping people up, but I do believe that Travis Hunter is that generational type player at that position.
So you're okay with it then?
Well, no, I'm not okay with the trade package. But I'm not okay with the fact that I know he says he wants to play both ways. He hasn't been in the NFL yet. Okay, it's a whole different league. They hit harder. People are faster. And you're playing against all pro guys already. So the longevity, even if he somehow manages to play both ways for a little while, he's not going to keep doing that. I think they'll test him at both positions. Whatever they feel more comfortable at, that's what he'll probably predominantly play. And if he gets thrown into some opposite, packages on the defense, or if he plays mainly offense, whatever, then hey, that's what they'll do. But I don't see any real world where he plays both ways for the entire length of his career or entire stint at the Jags. I just don't.
No, I agree. And it's not going to be a thing in college where he's starting both positions full time. He's going to be a starting corner, and then he's going to come in as a wide receiver 3 in some packages. That's what's going to happen. And I'm okay with that. But like, it's the first round next, like your second this year and a first next year. It is so much to give up for a cornerback. Now, I know he is like one of the highest rated players, generationally talented. And even if I'm just looking at him, if he turns into an all-pro corner, which is, not a guarantee, that's very hard to do. That's still a lot to give up. We'll see. I guess we kind of have to wait and see how next year's draft goes to know if it's good. But if I was the Jaguars, I don't think I would have made this deal because I think we need more help than he could give us. I would have been fine with the Jaguars staying at 5 and taking Mason Graham, the tackle from Michigan, or if they were going to take Ashton Jeanty, okay, then I get it because I wouldn't have wanted to take a running back. I would have rather gotten Hunter. It's good. It's the new guys in Jacksonville making a splash. I kind of respect it. I respect them going for it and swinging and taking a shot, but it's a hell of a lot to get up. If you're the Browns, I think it's a great decision by them. We just crucified the Browns for taking 2 quarterbacks, but at this point, I thought the Browns were cruising, man. I was like, yeah, you take the easiest money the Browns ever made. They're like, yes, please. Like, they were trying to get that deal done before the Jags changed their mind, but we'll see. I hope it works. It could work out for both teams. It seems like the majority of people like that the Jags did this. Me and you might be in the minority. Again, I don't hate it. It's just a lot to give up.
Since the Browns are so incompetent, I fully believe that Jacksonville offered this, and the Browns said, "Oh yeah, I'll take it." Yeah. I don't think this was a negotiation between the Browns and the Jags. I think the Jags said, "Hey, we'll give you whatever. How about all this?" And they're like, "Yeah, sounds great.
We'll take it."
I won't put it past the Browns to make a good decision at all. All right, pick number 3, the New York Giants select Abdul Carter, the shutdown edge from Penn State. Great pick there. Number 4, the Patriots select Will Campbell. Number 5.
High. I will say Will Campbell. I know the Patriots were in a tough spot here because didn't really have a lot of places they could go. One of the debates with Will Campbell is he going to have to move to guard because of like his wingspan, how big his arms are? Obviously, Patriots want to play him at tackle. I loved the guy's passion. I loved like his speech and him talk. He seems like a really good guy. Hope it works out for the Patriots. Overall, I think they've done a decent job, but they were in a real tough spot here.
Pick number 5, the traded pick. Cleveland Browns select Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan.
I love this.
That's going to be playing right next to Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Oh boy, defense. Oh boy, that's going to be a scary defensive line, man. Like I think that's. I'm not going to say it's an underrated pick, but the Browns, they don't make a whole lot of good choices. This was actually a really good choice. Their defense is going to be pretty phenomenal, especially up in the trenches. And we both know that's where games are won and lost, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I really thought they were going to stay at 2 and take Hunter for the corner thing, but this is a good move. Put a really great nose tackle next to Myles Garrett, and then you got 2 guys to worry about. I think this is smart.
Pick number 6, Tom Brady and the Raiders select Ashton Jeanty. What do you think about this, man? I'm not really sold on Ashton Jeanty. I like the guy. I really do. He's a cool guy, man, and I really liked how he presented himself and everything, but I just don't know if round 1 is the place to take him.
Well, that's definitely a hot take because most of these draft guys had him as like their 3rd prospect on their big board.
No, round 1 for the Raiders specifically.
Okay. No, but with that said, I agree with you. I'm a little, more skeptical of Jeanty than some people because he's smaller, than we would like him to be. The Raiders, I understand they kind of needed help. To be fair, they did need running back help really bad.
I mean, they had Mostert, and I think that's it.
Because they let Jacobs go, so they were in a terrible situation.
I get it.
If they didn't take Jeanty, that's kind of how I look at it. What would they do here? I think maybe trade back. I wouldn't have hated for them to go get a receiver like McMillan or something to try and get some help. But, I don't hate it. I wouldn't do it. It's a very Raiders pick. I hope it works out for him. I'm just, 6. I don't think I would have taken Jeanty at 6, but that's why I'm talking into a microphone.
Pick number 8, the Panthers select Tech McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. I like this. I really do.
Yeah,
they needed receiver help. If they're going to try to make Bryce Young their guy, then, hey, you got to surround him with weapons. So he has no questions about why he doesn't have talent around him, right?
Yeah, Panthers had a good draft. Like their first couple picks were really good. They were kind of nailing this draft as far as I kept up with them like through the 3rd round. We'll look at more detail maybe next week, but really like what they were doing this draft. I think they're, building something.
Pick number 9 goes to the Saints. They select Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas. Pick number 10 is the Chicago Bears select Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan. I think there were some people that scratched their head about this pick.
Yeah, this one's interesting because a lot of people had Tyler Warren as the better tight end on the board. I haven't watched enough of each of them to really have an opinion. I like them both. So my problem here, I actually don't like this pick at all. I don't like the first 2-round picks of the Bears because I think they're going a little too offensive heavy because they have like decent. I understand it's like, oh, we want to give Caleb Williams weapons and really see. They take the tight end here, Colston Loveland. You've already got Cole Kmet. So okay, this one I can kind of see. All right, whatever. But then in the second round, they take Luther Burden, a wide receiver out of Missouri. It's like you already have DJ Moore, who is like really similar to Burden. You got Roma Dunze last year. Like, well, it seems like we're just stacking up a bunch of offensive weapons. You're not going to be able to get all these guys the ball. You kind of already had that problem last year. Meanwhile, you don't really have like dominant pass. You don't have any reliable pass rushers or edge rushers. Like your defense needs a lot of help. I think it was short-sighted for the Bears to go so heavy on offense.
So I don't disagree with you, but I also think that the face of the Bears is changing with Ben Johnson in the room now. Because Ben Johnson, what is he?
An offensive coach?
I think that the Bears are going to lean more offensive heavy than they have because we've always known the Bears to be like that defensive team.
No, I understand. I'm totally with you there. But I think they could have done that with the guys they had. Like I think
possibly.
We're just adding up with so many. You had DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze, and now we're going to add Colston Loveland. Again, that one, I'm like, okay, I can see. I don't hate the Loveland pick. I think he's good. I'm fine. All right, whatever. I could have debated going, edge or lineman, but okay. It's the second round pick, Luther Burden, which really was a blown pick to me. It just seems like we're adding more mouths to feed and we're not going to be able to feed them all. So we'll see how they manage it. But obviously, I think you're right. I think this is Ben Johnson saying, I'm living and dying with the offense, baby.
Pick number 11, the 49ers select Michael Williams, the edge out of Georgia. We all know Georgia players always tend to be good, especially if they play defense, even if they go to jail. Pick number 12, the Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Booker, the guard from ours truly, Alabama. Roll Tide roll, baby.
Good pick.
It is a good pick, man. I was actually happy for the guy, man. I followed him a little bit in college, and I really like that he landed at Dallas. Until he meets Jerry Jones, I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Pick number 13, the Dolphins select Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle from Michigan. Pick number 14, the Colts select the Tyler Warren tight end from Penn State, who we thought should have gone, or at least the media thought should have gone before Colston Loveland.
I mean, if you're the Colts, this is just money. It's like the
fact that he fell this far.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you were like, oh man, it'd be nice if he fell to us, and he does, and they get exactly what they need. This is one of those situations where the Colts get what everybody mocked to them. They got their dream pick. It worked out perfectly. Unfortunately, they don't have a quarterback. So,
well,
too bad.
Look, hey, we still got years to build, guys.
That's right. That's right.
Pick number 15, the Falcons select, to prove my point even further, the edge from Georgia, Jalen Walker.
Atlanta, this pick, okay, Jalen Walker, I'm fine. You go back down in the draft to the 26th pick. They traded back up into the first round to get James Pierce Jr., the edge from Tennessee. So I understand the Falcons saying, hey, we have had no edge rushers. We've had no pressure. We can't pressure the quarterback. We're double dipping in this draft. We're going for it. Yeah, one of them's bound to hit. The problem is they gave up a first-round pick for next year to move up to 26. They gave up a first-round pick to move to 26 and take James Pierce Jr., who a lot of people thought was going to go earlier in the draft, like where they took Walker, but he's got some off-the-field issues. I'm okay with them taking a flyer on him, but giving up a first for him, this is just the typical Falcons where it feels like they don't really see the forest for the trees, man.
Here's some facts that may change your mind, okay? The Falcons totaled 31 sacks last year. That was the second fewest in the NFL. They also haven't had a player with 10 or more sacks since 2016, which was Vic Beasley. So my point to this is, yeah, they stacked that rush, but if it pays off, nobody's going to be mad about it. So I think it's a win-win. If they completely fail and they're awful edge rushers, which, by the way, not typical of any Georgia player, just speaking of this one in particular, I think that they have a good shot at this being some good picks. If they can end the season somewhere in the mid-range of total sacks, they go from second fewest to middle range, it's a win, man, and nobody's going to say anything about this ever again.
I don't know. I think it's because you're not going to have a first round pick next year. And it's like you clearly have a lot of needs, and to double dip at edge, like, okay.
Now that may be a problem next year.
That's why I don't like. It's like if whichever one you liked more, whether it was James Pierce or whether it was Jalen Walker, take him at 15 and then, just wait. But or move back up. I feel like they got fleeced. You did not have to give up a first round pick to get back to 26 in this draft. It's just it's bad business.
I think the Falcons say to themselves, where did we fail the most? We knew, we saw it time and time again, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it was last year where the Falcons would get ahead and they would completely blow their lead because their defense couldn't keep up. So
I acknowledge it's a huge need. Yeah.
If this is their weakest link, and they think that they have a franchise guy, and they think that at quarterback, and they think they have a franchise guy at running back, then why not stack the defense up? Because like if that's your weakest link and you think you have franchise momentum building,
because next year's a better class, and the player you could have got next year with that first round pick you gave up is probably better than the player you got. We'll see. Maybe
I see where it
all works out with Pierce.
I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah, no, fair. It's just hefty price.
Pick number 16, the Arizona Cardinals select Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Mississippi.
Like it. Good pick.
Number 17, the Bengals select Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. Pick number 18, Seattle Seahawks, Gray Zabel, the guard from North Dakota State. Who saw North Dakota State being on the board right now?
Yeah, this is an awesome pick from Seahawks, one of the better picks of the first round. They were desperate to get a guard, and a lot of mocks had him going there. He was able to fall. They got arguably the best guard in the draft. This was just excellent move. Seahawks, maturing and doing the right thing, staying away from the skill guys, getting interior linemen. It's not sexy. It wins football games. That's a great pick.
How many North Dakota State players have we had be in the NFL and be super successful?
More than you would think.
Really?
Yeah. Carson Wentz.
I need a list. That's your work for next week. I need a list of that, okay?
It happened. I think, what's his name? Trey Lance. I think he was North Dakota State. He was a bust. Carson Wentz was. We've had a few.
Okay. I'd like to know the big ones, if there was any big ones.
I think Carson Wentz was it.
Okay, well, let's move on to pick number 19. Pick number 19, the Bucs select Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State.
This is one of the craziest picks of the first round because, first off, I like Emeka Egbuka a lot. I think he's a really good receiver. Obviously, Ohio State, it's like Georgia defenders. Ohio State receivers and Georgia defenders. It's like you're almost guaranteed not to miss. They're going to be a good player. What's weird about this pick is the fact that they brought Chris Godwin back. Like they re-signed Chris Godwin. What I'm confused by, and I think you'll agree with me, is that they've just they had other needs. Like a lot of people thought they were going to go Jahad Campbell. I know he has the injury questions. He's one of the best players in the draft though. And we'll talk about who got him. You'll never believe it. So this was weird because you brought back Chris Godwin. McMillan was really coming into his own last year as like a solid number 3. And Emeka is a slot guy. Like he operates out of the slot, kind of like JSN's, that similar role. This feels weird to me. It's like going to 19 and taking a wide receiver 3 or 4. I don't know. I would have liked this pick more if they didn't bring Godwin back. And obviously, I like Godwin. Maybe they didn't expect him to fall to him, but I don't know. I would have loved to see them go defense because I think they need the help there more than they do with receiver. I think they were fine at receiver.
It surprises me because their head coach is a defensive-minded coach, Todd Bowles, right? So it is kind of a shock to me that they pulled a wide receiver out here. But in their defense, if you have an Ohio State wide receiver fall to you at pick 19, it's probably not a bad move to go ahead and take him. Let's move on. Pick number 20, the Denver Broncos select Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas. Pick 21, the Steelers select Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle from Oregon. Pick 22, the Los Angeles Chargers select Omarion Hampton, the running back from North Carolina.
Okay, so this is one I'll jump in on because
I figured you would.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I like Omarion Hampton.
Figured you want to talk about Harbaugh's first pick.
Yeah, well, I like the player a lot. Obviously, he one of the better running backs in this class. However, they got Najee Harris, and I thought that was kind of the answer for running back for now. And there are receivers on the board. The guy we'll talk about next, like Justin Herbert needs help. And I know that Harbaugh is like, oh, he builds the trenches and he runs. He's not a, skill player. He's not going to go draft receivers. Trust me, I 100% get that. But then the Najee Harris addition's weird. I thought that signaled that we're not drafted. If they hadn't added Najee, I would be saying this is a great pick, genius, amazing. But it just seems weird because now you really still only have the guy from Georgia, the guy you like, the white guy, Ladd McConkey. That's like your only receiver option, whereas you could have got Matthew Golden here, which would have been a nice piece to pair with Justin Herbert. This is going to work out. Hampton's going to be a really good player. It's just, is it the best allocation of your draft picks? We'll see. They're going to be fine. He's a good player, but I raised my eyebrow at it.
And I do think that Ladd McConkey does like being referred to as the white guy.
Yes, it's on his nameplate.
Pick 23, the Green Bay Packers select Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. I absolutely love this pick because I think Jordan Love needed some help.
One of the best picks of the first round. First off, the fact that Green Bay hasn't selected a wide receiver in the first round in like 20-something years, and they finally do it when the draft's at Green Bay in front of their fans. It was a great moment. Matthew Golden
was awesome.
Is a really good receiver. He was awesome at Texas. I think he's going to be great because the Packers have got receivers, but like it hasn't quite panned out. Christian Watson's good, but the poor guy just cannot stay healthy. When he's on the field, Christian Watson's really good, but he gets hurt multiple times every year. The other guys haven't really developed like you want to. This is a great move. Go get Jordan Love some help because otherwise, the Packers have a really good roster. Love this pick.
And their division, you have to have a high-powered offense.
Correct.
You can't live without it. So love this pick here. It's, honestly, like it's one of the few A-pluses I give in the first round.
I agree.
Pick 24, the Minnesota Vikings select Donovan Jackson, the guard from Ohio State. Pick 25, though, this is where we're going to have to park for a minute because the Giants traded up with Houston to get Jaxson Dart here. I want your opinion first on this. Tell me what you're thinking. Do you like this pick? Do you think Jaxson Dart was the right guy? Do you think they overlooked anybody?
So if it was me, I would take Shedeur Sanders over Jaxson Dart. I'm not a big Jaxson Dart fan just because the offense he ran with Lane Kiffin is just not a pro-style offense. It's clap, RPO, first read, or run. Like he is not playing football, pro football at college. That does not mean he can't do it, obviously. And obviously they like the traits enough to take a flyer on him, but I don't know. I don't think I'm a fan.
If the phrase take a flyer should be used in a first-round pick.
Well, yeah, good point. So trading back up, obviously you're wanting to trade and get in the first round, so you have the fifth-year option. What this is more than anything to me, Ryan, this is Brian Daboll and Joe Shane trying to protect their ass. So at the end of the season, they'll be like, well, we just got a rookie quarterback. You got to give us another year. I really think that's what this is. They're saying, hey, we got a rookie quarterback, so you can't fire us now. You're stuck with us. But I would have rather them taken Shedeur, but obviously the interview went so bad with Brian Daboll, they weren't going to do that. I like Tyler Shock more than I like Jaxson Dart. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not like I've grinded the tape. I just don't think what he did in college translates at all to the NFL. So we'll see if Daboll can coach him up.
Jaxson Dart's going to have an awesome guy to sit under too, or at least train with.
What do you mean?
With Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's true. And he won't have to start right away.
Right. I'm just saying it's good for, like, if Dart wanted a good landing spot for him, like, this is a great spot because, you got one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it to be there and mentor you. And,
I praise you're throwing out there for Russell Wilson.
Okay, he's top 25 of all time, right?
No.
You don't think top 25?
No, I think
top 30?
I think once you start naming those, it stacks up pretty quick.
He's still a veteran guy who's been there, he's done it, and he's a good quarterback, okay? I'll leave it at that. Pick 26, the Falcons, James Pierce Jr. We already talked about that. Pick 27, Baltimore Ravens select Malachi Starks from Georgia, the safety, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite picks of the entire draft. You're getting a really, really talented safety and pairing him up with Kyle Hamilton. This is awesome. This is just awesome. This screams Ravens football. I love it. I think he's going to make an impact immediately. You can move him around, do a lot of things.
If there was a weak link in the defense, this is the area.
Yeah, I love it. This is just a perfect pick.
This borderline's an A+ for me, but I'm going to stick with an A. I've only rated 2 of these so far, so don't hold a lot of stock in my ratings. But if you wanted to know. Pick 28, the Lions select Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle from Ohio State. Pick 29, the Commanders select Josh Connerly Jr., the offensive tackle from Oregon. Love this pick.
The reason I like this is because it would have been so easy for them to be like, oh, we're good, and just kind of like get complacent and take some skill guys. This is like say, no, we're going to lock up the trenches for Jaden Daniels. We're protecting our quarterback. I like it. It's a professional pick.
This is getting the max level insurance coverage for your brand new car is what it is.
That's right.
Okay, this is exactly what this is.
You could have gone and got new tires. You could have got a new paint job. Nope, we're going to make sure we're insured.
Yep, we're going to make sure that nothing happens to this car. We're bubble wrapping it 8 times, baby. I love this pick. I really do. Look, the dude played lights out in Oregon too, so I think it's a great selection here for the Commanders. The Commanders have been doing everything right here the past 2 years, really, since the draft of last year. So I think the Commanders are on the right train, and they're going to be a team to watch out for in the near future, if you ask me. Pick 30, the Buffalo Bills. My Bills select Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback from Kentucky. I actually do love this pick here because we needed help on the defense. It's been a cluster with all the defensive things happening at the Bills, and I think this is a good selection here based on what they had left on the board. What say you?
Yeah, this is tricky. It was a weak cornerback class, and they needed cornerback. I don't really love this pick. I think this is a typical Brandon Beane pick where it's like it's good. It's
safe.
Not. It's safe. It's great. It's never great. You watch his tape. He does a lot of stuff good. Like he's really good at flying down, attacking the ball. So I think he could develop into a solid guy. I would have liked to see them kind of take a chance and swung for the fences and taken Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. But obviously the injury concerns were real with him falling because he was the second best corner in this draft. But because of the injuries, he slipped out of the first round. That became an issue. Arizona ended up picking him up. I would have loved to see the Bills take a swing on him because it could have really paid off. But I understand they need someone to kind of get in and contribute right away. Hairston should be able to do this. Typical B pick for Brandon Beane. Solid. And when you need corner here, you're kind of stuck in a tight spot.
Yeah, I think I would go B+ just for the fact that he filled a position that was needed, much needed.
Right. And you didn't have a lot of options.
Yeah, exactly. Pick 31, the Eagles swapped with the Chiefs to get Jihad Campbell, linebacker from ours truly, again, Alabama. Man, what a player. I mean, what a player. I love this for the Eagles. I think that this is unfortunately scary for the rest of the league, but
it is amazing that this happens every year.
Every single year.
I knew when it got to after it got past the Lions, I was like, oh my God, the Eagles are, because I knew the Chiefs weren't going to take him. I was like, he's going to get Jihad Campbell. Jihad Campbell, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 players in this draft. Just talent. It's injury concerns that has knocked him down. That's the only reason he fell. I think he's going to be fine, and he really hasn't, bloomed into his full potential. Putting him up there with Zach Bond and that defense, how he loves the Alabama and Georgia guys. This is an A+ pick, man. I think they're going to love this dude. Assuming the health thing plays out, which I think it will, he's going to be a monster. He's going to be an absolute monster.
The Eagles have a way of doing this in the draft where they find the value at the late picks, man.
Every time.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, they did it with Jalen Carter,
Well, it's not even finding the value. It's the fact that they fall to him for whatever reason.
But they have somehow pulled out top 5 value at pick 30.
Yes.
Or 31, whatever it is. Jalen Carter fell to them, too, because of all the worries about the whole,
driving incident, yeah.
We all know, yeah. So that situation. This happens every year. Are you upset that the Chiefs traded out of that?
Not at all, because the Chiefs we're not going to take Jihad Campbell. I've seen people say too, why would you trade?
Why would the Eagles just stay?
Okay, yeah, because someone else called the Chiefs and offered to trade up. So obviously, they said Howie had been trying to trade up since pick 22 or something. He had been on the phones, so it came to the Chiefs. They were willing to trade down a little bit.
Oh, you said another team called
called the Chiefs. So then the Chiefs called the Eagles and said, hey, we got a team wanting to move up. We're going offense. Y'all are probably going defense. Do y'all want it? And Howie said yes, cost him a 5th round pick. They weren't moving up in front of the Chiefs. They were stopping another team from trading
to get
arguably Jihad Campbell. Because we get to the last pick, which is the Chiefs taking Josh Simmons, the tackle out of Ohio State. Absolutely love this. This is best case scenario. I did not think he would fall to us. I thought we were going to end up with Josh Connerly from Oregon, which I would have been happy with. Josh Simmons, had he not gotten hurt, would have been the best tackle in this class. he would have gone number 4 to the Patriots. He is the most talented tackle in this class, bar none. It's not even close. The caveat, he has a torn patella tendon, which is a very, very serious injury. And a lot of players don't come back from it. A lot of players have trouble.
That sounds like it's made up.
It does.
A patella tendon.
I do think the Chiefs medical team has proven to be really good. They got Trey Smith really late because of a heart condition no one wanted to take a flyer on. And now he's, one of the best linemen in the league. This is amazing. Assuming the health thing works out, Josh Simmons is going to be a franchise tackle for the Chiefs. I was just jovial that he fell to us. And even if it ends up not working out with the injury, oh well, at least you took the most talented tackle in the draft at 32. It's okay. And he doesn't have to play right away. You know what I mean? The Chiefs can let him heal. He doesn't even have to play this year. It's like heal, rest up, protect yourself, and then come hit it in a year or so. I love it. The Chiefs got lucky with this one.
All right, guys. Well, you have seen us bluff our way through the first round of the draft. Anything that stands out to you past the first round? One thing to me is in the 7th round, the Patriots selected a long snapper, which in the last 4 years hasn't happened, and that's Julian Ashby and from Vanderbilt. It doesn't happen too often, so that was kind of a weird fact that kind of stood out to me.
Interesting. Yeah, there wasn't a ton of stuff in the 2nd through 7th round that I thought was like worth talking about and mentioning other than the Shedeur Sanders thing.
Yeah.
Individual teams, like I followed the Chiefs draft, I followed the Bills a little, nothing crazy. You're kind of waiting to see how these guys pan out. So we might touch on some of that next week when we do our episode, but obviously first round picks are the big ones. That's the one like everybody knows their names and stuff. So it's fun. It was for a class that we thought was underwhelming and a draft that we thought was going to be lame, turned into be a really fun draft night and draft weekend. The Shedeur Sanders thing, Mel Kiper literally freaking out on it. Dude, he was having a full-blown panic attack. He might have lost any credibility he had left. And I saw I don't know if you saw the compilations of him every time someone got drafted. It's when they were showing that kid's highlights and he was just screaming about Shedeur Sanders. And he was like, the NFL is clueless. They're fucking clueless about that. I can't fucking stand it. It was crazy.
I don't like looking at that guy. He looks like he should have been like a double in Jimmy Neutron or something. Like he really does.
He's got a lot of upside though.
Well, obviously not, actually.
He didn't have any.
So let me ask you this question to wrap it up. Who do you think, what's the team you'd give the highest draft grade to after the 7th round wrapped up this morning?
Oh, honestly, not a fair question because I haven't looked in detail at each team's full draft. So I really couldn't answer because
that's the question for next week, folks. And if you want to, go ahead and drop a comment down below who you think had the best overall draft of 2025. Right now, the top 3, according to PFF, is Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, and the Dallas Cowboys.
Panthers would be my answer from what I've seen. They were nailing every pick.
100% agree with that. I was going to actually select that one before you cut me off, but it's no big deal. Even if Dallas did have an A+, we surely know that they will slowly run that into the ground just like they have everything else, as long as Mr. Jones is still alive. Let's wrap the show up, get us out of here.
God, sorry, goodbye, Dallas fans, and any that were left. See ya.
I don't think there is any left.
Probably not. We don't talk about it as much as everybody else does.
They're all hiding.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Thank you guys for watching the show. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're here through the off season. Obviously, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the season kicks off. Please help us down below. We appreciate it. It costs nothing. Ryan, thanks for covering the draft with me. I had a blast. We will be here bluffing our way through the off season, and we'll see you every step of the way. Goodbye.